Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to GBFC2, the second channel of the George Benson Football Channel, where today we are going to be discussing the race for the Premier League top four that is now seriously beginning to heat up. It was another wonderful weekend of Premier League football. On a personal note, I don't think it could have been any worse. However, Joe Willock scoring for Newcastle to mean that Spurs dropped points kind of made it a little bit better towards the end. Before we get into the discussion though, I would love to ask you to hit the subscribe button and turn on bell notifications. We've got a big week of football this week. We've got Champions League predictions for the quarterfinals coming out tomorrow. And then we're going to have some Premier League predictions, Champions League reaction content coming out later on this week. So you're not going to want to miss it. Get those bell notifications on and hit the like button on this video whilst you're at it. That'll be grand. The race for the top four started off this weekend with a game that I've already addressed on GBFC and in the 6 Things We Learned series. Chelsea were hammered at home to West Brom. It was a result that sent shockwaves down the Premier League, to be honest. It gave teams like Liverpool their eyes wide open thinking, blimey, we can go to Arsenal and get a result, then we're really back in things. Spurs, well, they had a chance as well by going to Newcastle. They could have overtaken us, but they just Spursed it up really, didn't they? Newcastle United, a team that have become a bit of a soap opera joke in the Premier League, with their own players even coming out and saying that their manager's a coward. Matt Ritchie calling out Steve Bruce, which you don't really want that when your club's in a relegation scrap. Newcastle managed a draw against Tottenham. Liverpool put in one of their best displays in recent memory in the Premier League by going to a very disjointed Arsenal side. I say disjointed, they just looked woeful, to be fair. Liverpool go and win 3-0. West Ham didn't play. Leicester City, they were beaten by the champions-elect Manchester City. There's not really much of a surprise there. City are here. Everyone else, well, I mean, my hand's going off the camera, but it's pretty much accurate. And everyone else is kind of down here. So Manchester United also managed a victory, but we're going to go through from the top down in this one. So we're going to start off with Manchester United, who beat Brighton 2-1 for the 8th time this season. Manchester United come from behind to get a result. And I'm not going to lie, as a Chelsea fan, I'm a little bit jealous of this mentality that United have, that even when they go a goal down, they still have so much about them in order to come back and grind out a result when either their best players, Bruno Fernandes, wasn't wonderful yesterday against Brighton, but they've got that grit to actually dig deep when they're actually a goal down to come back and secure the 3 points. United, I think it's pretty much a given now. Whether I actually think that they've been one of the best teams in the league this year or not, I actually personally don't. And it's not because I don't like Manchester United, it's just because I watch a lot of football and I just think that there's been teams that have played a lot better. But that being said, their points tally speaks for itself. They're looking very confident and they're pretty much guaranteed a spot in the top 4. Man City, that's also written off as well. So we've got a lot of teams now battling it out for 2 places. You've got Leicester, Chelsea, West Ham, Liverpool, Spurs and Everton. 6 teams pretty much, all looking for a top 4 place. You've also got Aston Villa on the periphery there, but I realistically don't think they're going to have the staying power between now and the end of the season and other teams above them dropping enough points. I don't think it's going to happen. So we start off with Leicester City, who were beaten by Manchester City. They've got another tough game coming up this weekend against West Ham. Leicester, in the past, despite winning that Premier League trophy that we're always going to remember as a wonderful achievement, despite that, Brendan Rodgers has kind of struggled towards the latter end of seasons. And I had a conversation with this about this with Rory. We both are on agreement that Leicester and Brendan Rodgers isn't that manager that I really want to be confident in to actually finish a season, taking my team from being top 4 competitors to actually finishing within that top 4 come the end of the 38th match of the season. I think Leicester, as great as the football it is that they play at times, and this season they've looked pretty good defensively at times, they've had some breakthrough players, James Justin being one of them, he's injured at the moment as well. I think Leicester might struggle to see out games between now and the end of the season. They've currently got the points on the board in their favour, which is wonderful for them, but I think they might drop away. You then look at Chelsea, who, until that result against West Brom, I'd say that we were pretty much on the money to finish in the top 4. Since that result, a lot of people are saying, oh, they bottled it, but they've absolutely screwed it. So many Chelsea fans in the comments of my video were like, nope, we're not getting top 4 anymore. We can't lose at home to West Brom and still expect to make top 4. Agreed in essence from the context of that one result, but I think it will just be, I hope, I pray, touch the flipping wooden desk. I hope that it's just a temporary blip in what has been a brilliant recovery for our season since Thomas Tuchel took over. I think Chelsea obviously have that pedigree to finish in the top 4. We know how to do it. We very often battle teams. And when it comes down to the final few games of the season, that know-how on how to secure these positions, the mentality, Chelsea actually have it compared to a lot of the teams around us who are either looking to get in the top 4 for the first time in a while, looking to break those hoodoos of Leicester last season where they capitulated towards the end. But I think Chelsea will still do it. I think if I was to really measure it out at this point, I'd put Chelsea slightly ahead of Leicester, despite Leicester's points tally, in terms of my confidence, blue-tinted bias glasses or not, as to who's going to finish in the top 4. You've then got Liverpool, and I want to speak about Liverpool for a little bit because that result away at Arsenal, in regards to the match itself, Arsenal weren't brilliant. Arsenal looked like a mid-table side in that game. Liverpool, Diogo Jota is absolutely fantastic. The fact that Mane, Firmino aren't really playing their best football at the moment, but Jota's come in this season. I think his form between now and the end of the season will be key if Liverpool are going to make it into the top 4. A couple of weeks ago, it looked very unlikely. It looked as though Jurgen Klopp's side were falling away at a rate where we might have been looking at them finishing similar to Arsenal in the mid-table spots come the end of the season, but it looks as though they're getting themselves back. Mo Salah's goal at Arsenal was fantastic. He looked very good again, and I think it's the kind of result that Arsenal fans and Arsenal in general would have probably gone into that game with quite a bit of confidence, with this Liverpool side not being anywhere close to what we've been used to over the past couple of seasons, but Liverpool were just a class above them. And I think that kind of result could be the turning point in terms of their mentality to really dig in now and build a run of results in order to make that top 4 themselves. You've then got Spurs, who, blimey, isn't it lovely to sit here and talk about Spurs bottling another lead again. Harry Kane hits the woodwork, Newcastle take it down the other end, Spurs at 6s and 7s, and Newcastle jump in with an equaliser. A result that will mean so much to Steve Bruce, who's really not having the best of times. And Mourinho again comes out in his post-match interview, blames his players, and that merry-go-round of the bottle scenario at Tottenham Hotspur seems to be rearing its head and continuing again. The reason I don't think Spurs will make the top 4 is because defensively they are absolutely atrocious, which sounds bizarre for a Jose Mourinho team, but as much as I adore and love Mourinho for what he's done in the past, I don't think he's quite got this team working in his style. And I think coming out and blaming the players in press conferences is only going to add to the frustration. Harry Kane's going to be off this summer. Spurs aren't going to make the top 4, in my opinion. Everton, again, I don't think they have that staying power between now and the end of the season for me to be confident that they're going to come close. I think they'll end up a few points off. They'll get a few more good results along the way, but they've had some very, very poor performances in recent weeks where they've just not looked good enough to actually see games through. One week they look fantastic, next week they look relatively average and they actually lose games that they should be winning. So Everton, I think it's going to be very tight. I think the reason I even made this video is because I do believe it's going to be very close between a lot of teams between now and the end of the season. I just don't think Everton are going to make it. I think Leicester will end up dropping out of the top 4. I think Chelsea will make it, but I also think Liverpool will make it as well. West Ham United is the final team that I want to talk about, and I want to give a lot of credit to West Ham. You know, they're Chelsea-London rivals, but they've been magnificent this season. At the beginning of the season, I thought, David Moyes, what can he really do with this team? It's like destined for mid-table mediocrity. But West Ham have been very, very good. They've become a difficult side to beat. They play some good football. They've got England's best central defensive midfielder in Declan Rice pulling the strings. Captain's performances, because Mark Noble's kind of been forced out a little bit due to the brilliance of Declan Rice and some other West Ham players that are in really good form. But to be quite honest, I think they'll fall short. But I think it's going to end up finishing like this. Chelsea in 3rd, United 2nd, Chelsea 3rd, Liverpool 4th, Leicester 5th, Spurs 6th, West Ham 7th, Everton 8th, Aston Villa 9th. That is my prediction for the end of this Premier League season. Let me know in the comments down below who you think is going to make the top 4. Do you agree with me that Man United have pretty much got the job done now? Who is going to be the other 2 sides that join both of the Manchester clubs in the Champions League next season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. I've got Champions League predictions coming out for you guys tomorrow. It is a massive week of European football before another bumper Premier League weekend. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will catch you all later.